In the lesson on quantity demanded, number of units demanded at each price point, and per unit price, only the price of the item and quantity demanded for an item were discussed. That is, the relationship between the number of units of an item consumed and the price per unit of the good were examined. Now we turn to looking at other non-price factors that influence consumer demand. Changes in non-price factors of a specific item are called determinants of demand, or demand shifters. Demand shifters involve the entire demand curve moving. It does not involve a movement along the demand curve as described when explaining the law of demand. When looking at demand shifters, an event must either positively or negatively impact the amount of an item purchased by consumers at each and every price point. Key demand shifters include a change in the price of a complementary or substitute good of the item under investigation, a change in income, a change in the number of consumers, a change in preferences, and a change in consumer expectations of future prices. If something positively affects consumers, the demand curve shifts outward and to the right. Demand is said to increase. If something negatively affects consumers, demand shifts inward to the left. In other words, demand decreases at each and every price point. It's worth repeating. When demand shifts, quantity demanded changes at each and every possible price point for that item. Let's look at each demand shifter one at a time. One demand shifter is a change in price of a substitute or complementary item to the specific item. For example, peanut butter and jelly are often sold together. Have you ever wondered why? The majority of people purchase these complementary goods together. So, if the price of peanut butter increases, then the demand for its complement, jelly, will decrease. Notice that this is the price of jelly's complementary good, peanut butter, that changed. The price of jelly itself was not discussed. Therefore, the demand for jelly is what is impacted. Other examples of complementary goods include cream and sugar for some coffee drinkers. The demand for coffee decreases when the price of cream or sugar spikes. Changes in taxes, income, the total number of buyers, consumer expectations about future prices, and tastes and preferences will also change demand. The demand for an item, the quantity demanded at each and every possible price point, will increase when consumer income rises, the tax rate falls, consumer preferences improve, or consumers expect price hikes in the future. Correspondingly, demand decreases when the opposite occurs. In conclusion, demand and quantity demanded are different. Quantity demanded is the amount of an item given a particular price for the item. Change the price of the item and a change in its quantity demanded will follow. If we change anything other than the price of the item, then that means that either the entire demand curve or the entire supply curve of the item will shift, depending on whether the non-price factor that changed is a determinant of demand or supply. Remember, determinants of demand, known as demand shifters, include changes in income, total number of buyers, taxes, prices of substitute or complementary goods, consumer expectations, and consumer tastes and preferences.